Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with teddybaldassarre.com. In this video, we're going to be looking at an Oris Big Crown pointer date with a bracelet at 40 millimeters. So in this video, we're going to go through all the details of this watch and an overview of this timepiece. Also, all the watches featured here are available on teddybaldassarre.com. That's really what we do on this channel. So at any point throughout this video, if you want to learn more, purchase this watch. Link will be in the description down below. And also don't be shy. If you have any further questions, you can also book a time with one of our watch specialists. But guys, let's jump into the video, take a closer look at this watch. One of the last independent Swiss brands of its size and status, Oris continues to produce timepieces that sit nicely in their own lane of quality and just attainability. The brand has been on quite an impressive streak of producing new in-house calibers over the past year, most recently with the Caliber 400 family, and that's helped establish them and position them among the best value brands in the world of Swiss watchmaking. Today we are going to take a look at one of my personal favorite models and a model that has been long-standing in their archive as well as their current catalog with the Oris Big Crown pointer date, with this one on a bracelet. Now this version we're going to be looking at today features a classic black dial, a stainless steel bracelet, perhaps the most iconic configuration of the Oris collection. And if you're a regular visitor of this review channel, we certainly have covered quite a bit of Big Crown pointer date models in the past, most notably the maroon dial variant, as well as looking at the Roberto Clemente edition, one of my favorite models from the brand. And this is also going to be a model that's going to have quite a bit of versatility on its side, considering that dial variation. Now jumping into this watch on the wrist, we have a 40 millimeter case diameter version here at 11.2 millimeters in case height and aided by a dome sapphire crystal. From the lug to lug dimension, this piece measures in at 48 millimeters and wears really close to those dimensions, if not completely true to the actuals. Now there is a 36 millimeter option available for many of these Big Crown or pointer dates out there. Now in terms of what size is best to go for when looking at the Big Crown pointer dates, 40 millimeters, I would say for those probably in the medium wrist size and above, so anything up, that's probably where you would want to go. And in regards to smaller wrists out there, then you can go for the 36 millimeter option. That is quite a big jump in difference here, so just kind of keep in mind what your preferences are, and also just keep in mind that there are a variety of different case options here. The lug width measures at 20 millimeters, and on this model you'll find a multi-link brushed steel bracelet finished off with a fold-over clasp with an engraved Oris logo. The brushed bracelet comes with plenty of sizing links and a clasp that has 5 points of micro adjustments to really lock in and correct the size for your wrist. It has a 2-button release system and is utilized here to unlock the bracelet. Overall, the bracelet is pretty standard, but it does offer a lot of sizing adjustment between the removable links and micro adjustment in the clasp, and I would say it is quite good for the money. Probably not on the same par as that of the Aquis bracelet and what you're going to be finding there for around the same price, but certainly satisfactory. Now let's take a look at one of the most predominant and iconic design elements of this case, and that is going to be the coin edge bezel, which really provides this model a standout vintage look. You're going to find that this is the same coin edge design on the case back as well. The bezel really catches the light and gives the case a ton of character. The second iconic element of the case is going to be the Big Crown, hence the name, which measures at 7 millimeters and has a high polished top with the Oris logo inscribed across. The crown is a screw down variety for enhanced security and helps provide this watch 50 meters of water resistance. That might be a little bit not to the level where some people want it at, maybe 100 meters. That's typically one of the points of criticism I see mentioned, but the screw down variety here does probably assist more in providing a lot of peace of mind there. Engaging the crown is easy to do. Once you unscrew it at that first position, you can hand wind the movement, extending it to the second position that will adjust the pointer date function, allowing that outside hand to jump to each of the corresponding dates. So a very cool complication here that is unlike what you will see in this price category. And then at that farthest out point, you can change the time while hacking the second hand or stopping the second hand in the process here as well to set precise, accurate time. Peeking into the vintage inspired dome sapphire crystal, which features AR coating on the underside of the glass, we see what Oris describes as a black dial. Now, to call this dial a truly black dial might be a bit of a stretch. It's closer to that of an anthracite or a dark matte, or even maybe saying it's a charcoal, but nevertheless the dial color is sharp and there's really good contrast with the dial elements. You'll find the use of more vintage inspired design with everything from the choice of fully luminous cathedral style hands to the font choice used for its Arabic numerals. Now as we move to the outer portions of the dial, you will also find a railroad minute track with triangular superluminova plots at each of those hours. To the outside of the tracking, you will also find a 1 to 31 scale, and those of course are your date markers for that pointer date. As for the pointer date function, this really isn't a feature that, again, you're going to find often, and it kind of is a standalone complication, what makes it really interesting and rather just iconic for this design in Oris in general. If you do see a pointer date, oftentimes it's part of a larger calendar complication such as a complete calendar. The date is indicated by a long, thin hand adorned with a red triangle that snaps cleanly into place rather than the slowly sliding over to the next date. The loom on the hands and the plots are decent. I will say though, it's not going to stack up to other dive watches or even other, I would say, everyday watches of the category, so maybe a little below average here compared to most. But in regards to the dial design and what this one is going for, there isn't really much else like it with that pointer date function. This allows it to really separate itself from a lot of other things in the market. Taking a look at the back of the watch, once again, you'll notice the coin edge finishing along the outside of the screw down case back to match the bezel. Now the exhibition case back reveals the caliber 754, which is a workhorse caliber that's going to be based off of the Sellita SW200. Pretty much is going to be straightforward in terms of its finish outside of that red Oris logo, which kind of is a calling card for the brand. Now Oris is probably one of the most famous users of Sellita movements. They use them in a variety of their watches in this category from $1,700 to around $4,000 until now starting to roll out their caliber 400s in many of their models. But if you're not familiar with Sellita, probably the second in line in terms of getting the most respect and acclaim for making third-party movements. Of course, they're going to be rather bare bones, but you cannot dismiss the upside of having the serviceability, the reliability, as well as the access to parts that come with going with the Sellita movement. And the reason for Oris using them so frequently is the access to these calibers, having a lot of just issues sometimes with ETA and sourcing those movements when you're doing things at the scale that Oris is doing them at. This is commonly why you're going to find them going in this direction. In terms of what you're going to be seeing from the specifications of this movement, looking at a 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate or 4 Hertz, does feature hacking and hand winding, so hacking again, stopping the second hand when you pull out the crown to the farthest position. And for a power reserve, comes with the standard 38 hours that comes with these Sellita movements. Now to wrap up and to go over who the Oris Big Crown Pointer Date is for. Now in regards to everyday watches in this price category, there are going to be ones that have different appeals. Some will really lean into the sports category. Some might lean a bit more into the dress category. And then you have watches like this one that kind of is in the middle and really leans into the idea of a heritage design and also leaning on its complication. The Oris Big Crown Pointer Date is pretty unlike many of the competing watches in the price category, just given that pointer date function. Again, this is just not something that you see in the price category, and candidly, I think it's a very cool feature. In terms of the things that are kind of working against this one would be the power reserve. These are just basic Sellita movements. You do, of course, get some upside and reliability that comes with that, but 38 hours is quite low. Also, water resistance here, there are going to be some, despite having the screw down crown, they're going to want to have 100 meters of water resistance for a piece like this. But that vintage inspired design and that added complication with a pretty solid bracelet as well, this watch has carved out a unique lane in the marketplace. And if you are looking for a heritage inspired, unique complication in this price range from an everyday standpoint, this is the type of individual that should look in the direction of the Oris Big Crown Pointer Date. All right, guys, well, thank you again so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, as that is a great way to help the channel. But in addition to that, if you are interested in this watch, check out the link in the description, teddybaldassarre.com, full authorized dealer of all the brands that we carry on this channel. This is really where we cover a lot of these watches, give you some just general information about, as you're looking in the direction of these timepieces, some things to consider before you actually pull the trigger. So definitely check that out in the description below. Full authorized dealer, full factory warranty, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and also 9 out of every $10 just goes back into this content that we're creating, allowing us to continue to create videos here, as well as on our main channel as well. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.